ABC4 News, your local election headquarters.
Good evening, I'm Sarah Murphy.
And I'm Emily Flores. We thank you for joining us here. We do begin this evening with Election Day in Utah. Voters across the state have until 8 o'clock tonight to either take your ballot to an official drop box or vote in person at a polling location.
Now, while Election Day is over for most of the country, Utah's 2023 elections were pushed back for this year's special congressional election to replace Chris Stewart. The former congressman resigned earlier this year, leaving his seat vacant. So we're following team coverage with reporters at polling locations across the state, from Iron County, where a $90 million jail bond is on the ballot.
Yes, and to northern Utah, where a slow voter turnout appears to be on the rebound this evening. So let's first head to Salt Lake City, where 3 candidates are competing to lead Utah's capital city. ABC4's Annika Johns is live at the Salt Lake County Government Center. And Annika, it looks like you have a ballot in hand here this evening.
Yes, that's right, Emily. I just finished filling out my ballot here, and you can drop off any ballot at one of the drop boxes, as you can see just behind me, or you even have the option to walk into a voting center and hand it to an individual. That's all you have to do. Walk in, hand it to them, walk out, and that's it. You don't have to wait in any kind of line. Now, you can drop off your ballots at one of the 25 boxes or go to one of Salt Lake County's 20 locations where you can vote in person, or like I said, hand your ballot to a polling center of employee. If you wish to vote in person, or a valid form of ID is required, so make sure to bring one with you when you come by. The ballot boxes, Salt Lake County say, are secure, and both in-person voting and ballot drop-offs are open until 8 p.m. tonight. Now, I spoke with Salt Lake County Clerk Lehi Chapman, says that this year's election falls during a different time, and while this election may not be at the top of everyone's mind right now, to make sure to get out there and vote, because what you want matters.
So it's been kind of weird, right? So it's an odd year, municipal general, a little bit different than what we're used to seeing during even year generals. But then we have the congressional District 2 race on top of it. But then we moved the election to the week of Thanksgiving. So right now, I think we're on par to hit about 30% turnout.
Now, Chapman continued saying that she would obviously love to hope that 30% to go up, so make sure to stop by and cast your vote. Now, if you're looking for a location and you live in Salt Lake County, ABC4 does have a full list of all locations on our website at abc4.com. Now, I'm going to go and throw my ballot in, so make sure to do that with yours as well. Reporting live from Salt Lake, Annika Johns, ABC4 News.
All right. Thank you, Annika. Well, we're continuing our team coverage by following voting in southern Utah and Utah County, where we're told tens of thousands of people have cast their ballots.
So we're also keeping a look in Weber County today, where voters will decide on a $98 million bond to improve the sheriff's office and the jail. And Ogden residents will choose a brand new mayor. ABC4's Northern Utah correspondent Kate Garner is at the election center this evening. And Kate, how's turnout looking? Better and better, it sounds like.
Yeah, better and better is a good way to put it. I checked in with the elections office at the end of last week, and voter turnout for the entire county was sitting at about 18%, but as of this morning, it had jumped up to 30%. Now, the elections office says voter turnout started off slower than they expected, but they are hopeful that total voter turnout will reach close to 45% when the polls close tonight at 8 o'clock. Normally, during a non-presidential election, they say they wouldn't expect turnout to be that great, that 45%, but with a couple mayoral races and the Justice Center bond on the ballot, they estimate above average turnout. As of today, Ogden turnout is about the same as the county's turnout, just a little bit over. It has about 31% of turnout so far. And I spoke with both of the candidates who are running for mayor. They say that the biggest difference between them right now is their experience working in Ogden government positions.
You know, I've not been a part of the problems in city government for the last decade. I've been looking in from the outside, hand in hand with thousands of Ogdenites fighting on issues related to the Marshall White Center, homelessness, COVID.
Experience is more than just time in a position or time in a seat. It's about learning. It's about growing and understanding the issues and the depth of the challenges that we face and knowing what the solutions are and how to get those solutions.
Those, of course, were the candidates Taylor Knuth and Ben Nadolski. Now, the elections office says that they're only going to release one set of preliminary numbers this evening, and that they expect that will account for about 40% or 70% of total votes for the election. Now, the clerk tells me that if the difference between the two mayoral candidates is 1% or greater, he doesn't expect that outcome will change, even when the additional 30% of the votes in Weber County are counted. Reporting live in Weber County, Kate Garner, back to you.
All right, we thank you, Kate. We turn our Election Day coverage to Iron County now. ABC4 Southern Utah correspondent Garrett James has been following some big bonds and a proposed tax increase happening there. Garrett, give us a breakdown on some of the key issues that residents are voting on today.
Well, their big ticket items essentially are in Iron County, two bonds, one being for a school bond, and there's also a proposed 0.1% tax increase for Cedar City's recreation, arts, and parks. However, one of the biggest items on the list is a bond for a new jail in Cedar City for the county. I spoke with Iron County attorney about what the bond would be for.
So the proposition, the bond for the new jail is something that we're trying to get passed to fund a critical need for the county, which is the new jail. It's been something that's been in discussion and in the works for many, many years. Our previous sheriff, as well as other commissioners, were exploring different sites. So this is something that's been a need for a long time for the county.
Now, I would say polls, they've been fairly steady this afternoon and this evening with people coming in here and there, but there has been a steady flow of people coming into the city elections office. However, there's still time. If you have not cast your ballot, there is still time, as we've got just about 3 hours until those polls close. In Cedar City, Garrett James, ABC4 News.
All right. Well, thank you, Garrett. We are now down to less than 3 hours before polls close.
We're also following voter turnout in Utah County at this hour. ABC4's Jonathan May is in Lehi with the latest on Election Day there. Jonathan.
Well, Emily, Sarah, you mentioned we're less than 3 hours away till polls close. And here in Lehi, voters have really only two options to drop on ballots today. One is here at City Hall and the other is over at the Public Safety Center. Now, looking overall at Utah County, voter turnout seems to be a little low right now. As of last night, the county clerk says it's about a 19% turnout. That's about roughly 71,000 voters. And talking with people in the ballot processing room, they're hopeful that number could go up slightly, getting to around 80,000 voters when people start to vote as they're getting off work.
It's all city councils on this one. Plus, there's several cities that have propositions on tax propositions. You know, it can affect you a lot more personally by voting in the municipal elections than it does in the federal elections.
And David said for people who are just getting off work now, he encourages them to go vote in person. And as you can see behind me, there's not many people walking inside. There's no lines, so it's quick and easy. As Annika mentioned, all you have to do is simply drop off your ballot. Reporting live in Utah, Lehi, Jonathan May, ABC4 News.